Hi friends, welcome back to another video. This video is all about the new 2025-2026 Erin Condren Teacher Lesson Planner. So I'm going to do a complete flip through, show you how I set this up. So if you're interested in that, keep watching. Let's get started. So this is the new 2025-2026 Erin Condren Teacher Lesson Planner. I got it in the Softbound version. I put the year here on the bottom. They made some changes this year to the interior in terms of like the layout. So I'm going to make sure to point those things out as we flip through. I am a homeschooling mom, and yes, I use the Teacher Lesson Planner. I do not use the Homeschool Planner. They didn't update it. Until they update it a little bit more to function a little bit more like this one does, I will not be getting the homeschool planner, but I have used this teacher lesson planner for the past I've used it 2 years now. This will be my third, and it works out very nicely. I changed very little. That's what the stickers are for. I will show you how I use those. So here we go. Like I said, this is the Softbound, and they actually gave Softbound users a little bit more. They gave us some more options this year, so that we were able to pick from a couple different covers, a couple different layouts. So that was really nice. So I got the, I think it was called the eucalyptus cover. It has the minimal interior design. They didn't offer the floral option this year, which I was a little bummed about, but honestly, like, there was very little of the floral anyway on the inside of the teacher lesson planner. Like, the design really doesn't pop through in too many sections. So that's kind of what the stickers are for as well. The colors match nicely with the pastel minimal option here. So this pretty much looks the same from last year's, except I think the sections were just a little bit smaller. So this About Me section took up about half the page, and there was like a big flower thing here. I will link last year's planner below if you want to check out how that one looked. It's all filled out now, so I can't show you my planner because it's got like personal information and stuff on it, but this looks pretty much the same, and this is where the stickers start to come in, because this is obviously meant for a public school teacher, professional development, classroom resources, volunteer things, events. So this is where these type of stickers come in quite handy. So I use the skinny ones here to cover up this section. I will just lay an entire one right there over that line. It fits perfectly. I do the same thing over here on these events and dates. One of the skinny stickers fits perfectly in that space. And then I'll use one of these thicker stickers here right up at the top, cover that up. And I don't necessarily write on the stickers, but just covering up what it says. And it also just adds a little bit of design in the layout here. And then what I have used this for, I'll go ahead and just fill this part out just for fun. Over here, I put each of my kids' names. I'm homeschooling 2 kids next year. Yes, I have 3 kids. One of them's a toddler, so I'm not worried about him yet in the planner. So I put each of my kids here and the curriculum that we are using. Over here, again, I put each of their names and the goals that I have for this year. And then down here is where I write down all the curriculum that we're using for our group subjects. This is just for fun. I honestly don't need to do any of that, but just kind of like a little brain dump to make sure I've got all my bases covered. That's what this is all for. Here is a communication log. Again, don't use it for that. Again, with these thick stickers, they go right up on the top. They fit very nicely. And this becomes our reading log. This is where I write down all the read alouds that we read for the year. So that works out quite nicely here. Here's kind of the year at a glance. Your 12 boxes. I love that they're blank. They finally did that. I don't really use these pages, and that's okay. I know people use them sometimes for like field trip tracking. If you're putting out like, if you're planning out unit studies for different months, themes, that kind of thing, that might go nicely right here. Okay, this is where things are different. Last year there was a couple spreads of like graph paper, like the grid pages, and this year they have this bell schedule spread here and then a spending summary here. Now, this one I can already tell you would be another really good situation of covering the top and using it as a book log, and I might do that for my first grader. Well, he'll be in second grade next year. He honestly reads so much, though, that it probably wouldn't be worth keeping track of all the books that he reads, but this could very easily be converted into a reading log for sure. And then this one, I actually think I'm going to use this. Again, I'll cover the top up, but I think I might actually use this to kind of map out our schedule a little bit more. I have the past 2 years reverse planned or done like record keeping, so I don't necessarily plan out what I'm going to do every single day ahead of time. Like, I don't write it down in the planner before, but at the end of the day I write down what we did. But I might this year, because we're going to be doing a couple more subjects than we have in the past, I might try to schedule out our days so they're a little bit more organized. So I think I might mess around here with our schedule. I don't know, or I might not use it and just do it in my head, but I might actually try to jot down some ideas that I have here. Here's again that spending summary, and then we are into the months. This is where we would have seen like the floral design a little bit more, and then especially in the monthly spread here. My planner last year, I had the Bold Blooms lesson planner, and there was like a big colored section here, which I do kind of miss. I wish like maybe they kept the pastel color going over there, but it's okay. I don't honestly use these pages all that much. Sometimes I do write some things down, especially when I'm trying to plan out a unit study or it seems like we're falling behind. Sometimes I'll jot everything out to kind of space things out. Same thing here. I usually will use, this is where these smaller stickers start to come in handy. And these ones here, like people's birthdays in our family, and I'll plan out like the weeks we're gonna have off, and like holidays is what I will mark here. I don't mark anything else, except for, like I said, occasionally I will use some sticky notes when I'm planning out a unit study and I'm like, okay, I want to be on this week, I'll put it here for this week, whatever. Like when we did a space unit study, I had like, we were doing comets this week, galaxies this week, half the planets this week and the other half this week. And that's kind of how I did it. And I spaced it out that way. So that's how I've used this in the past. So yeah, that's that. And then here is the weekly view. So this is actually new. I need to mention this. So last year, this over here was just a notes section. So this is what the previous year looked like. So like I said, this 7th section here is now not just like a notes section. It's got the individual subjects laid out for that. So I know a lot of people probably really love that they did this and just not leaving it as a note section anymore. It didn't really matter to me either way. So last year what I did is I had my first graders individual subjects here, math, language arts, and handwriting, and then I had like his name written up at the top. And then I had my preschooler's name written here. So this was her, section here. And then I did geography and science. And then, like I said, this was a note section. So I put all of our Catholic things over here and just kind of organized things kind of by how we did them during the week. It wasn't necessarily like the things on Monday went here, Tuesday. No, I just sort of laid them out by what it was. So I had like any saints that we read about had like a section. If we read passages from the Bible or certain things that we were memorizing, like those were just written. I had them grouped that way. But it'll be nice this year. I will have a whole section here for that. So this year, because I will have a kindergartner, I think what I've decided is I'm going to have, again, math, language arts, and handwriting here, the individual stuff. but my kids will be sharing a box, and I haven't decided yet if I'm gonna like color coordinate them, like one of them gets a certain color pen or not. But the individual stuff on this side for sure. And then on this side, I'm going to do all of our group subjects. So we'll have history this year, science, our catechism, our Catholic, anything like that in one column. And then maybe some of our extra things that I want to add in this year. We're doing a character study, any music or fitness things that I add in here. And then what I've done here in the past is used, is written like feast days here, again, holidays in this space here, because this is actually almost like its own subject here. And then I've also written like what I read in our read aloud. So I usually abbreviate the book that we're reading, and then I'll write chapter, 5 and 6, or just one chapter, whatever we read, I'll write it over here. So I've done that in this section. And then here we are already on to our next month. I do love that they changed this a little bit, gave us some sections, some way to organize things, because it was just basically 2 blank lined pages, and then this section was over here. So I do like that it's a little bit more organized. I'm not sure exactly how much I will be using these. Sometimes, like I said, it just depends on the month. So let's go ahead and flip through the rest of the planner, and then I'll show you guys what's at the very end. So we do start July because they wanna take it all the way through the end of June, and then you're into the notes section. So there's 1 spread, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 2-page spreads of just the line pages. Sometimes I use these to jot down ideas for next year, but honestly, most of the time they do stay blank. And then this section here, the student checklist section, honestly, like, there's not a lot that homeschoolers can really do with this section because we don't keep grades usually like this, and we don't have, 20 kids. But what I do just on this first page only is I keep track of how many days we homeschool. So I write all the months up here, July all the way through June, and then I'll number, the days 1 through 31. And then on the bottom, I'll keep track of how many days in the month, and then I'll have like a cumulative total down here, and then I'll just keep track. I don't need to turn that into anybody or anything like that, but I do like to keep track of how many days that we homeschool. So that's what I do here, but the rest of these are blank. So if you are wondering how many pages there are, though, here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of those spreads, and then that is it. Because this is the Softbound planner, it does not come with stickers. The coiled version does, and there's a pocket and different things in the back. The coiled version is just a lot thicker, and I don't need all that space. This really works quite well for me. The stickers just really help me to cover up what I don't need, keep things organized, and just adds a pop of color. Any stickers that I don't use, I will just use in my regular life planner, and I order my weekly life planner on Black Friday. That's when the sale is the biggest and I can save the most money on that planner. So that's when I order all of my regular weekly life planner stuff then. So I hope this was helpful to you guys. If you are a homeschooler and you too use the teacher lesson planner, please let me know down below. If I'm the only one that homeschools that still uses the teacher lesson planner, or if everybody has converted to that homeschooling one, I'm curious on your thoughts on that homeschooling planner. So anyway, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and I will see you guys all in my next video real soon. Bye.